Last week we spoke about various topics. We started speaking about the reason for creation of this world, but we drifted into practicality in Kabbalah because we spoke about a three-column system, three forces of energy. And like we have the number 3 in Judaism is very strong, right, left, and central. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. The Torah was given on the 3rd month, which is Gemini. So we have Aries, Taurus, then Gemini, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. The number 3 is coming along with Kabbalah, with the emanations, with the tree of life, that it's structured with the right column energy, which is the energy of giving, the energy of judgment, the energy that creates the border is the left column, then the central balance between both. Same as in our body. We have right, left, and central. So we spoke about the 3, and then we connected that to colors, the 3 major colors according to the Book of Splendor, which are white, red, and green. That this is associated with mercy, judgment, and beauty, the energy of mercy, the central column. And then we connected it to metals like silver, gold, and copper, and then how it's associated with the mezuzah, to be on the right side of the post door, because we have the right, left, and central. We spoke about kashrut, about meat and dairy, that there we don't have the central column to balance between them, it's just to separate them. This is what's balancing them. We cannot mix them together. So we spoke about various things like that. But today we'll go back to the time that the nation was created. Because we see it like that there is a difference between Jews and non-Jews. Really, what is the difference? If there is a difference, we are the chosen nation, isn't it? This is the way that it's being mentioned in the Torah. So how chosen is being said in Hebrew? How do you say chosen in Hebrew in the Torah?
Chosen,
it's not Bechira. It's there it's mentioned Am Sgula. Sgula, like special nation. But Segol in Hebrew represents also color purple, the purple color. But also Segol is one of the vowels that we have in Hebrew. When we have dots in our grammar, correct? Nekudot. So we have Chirik, we have Tzere, we have also Segol. Am Segula is Segol. What is Segol? How many dots we have in Segol? 3. Now it's by coincidence connecting to what we said before, that our nation is associated with number 3, right, left, and central. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Am Segula, Shalosh. So the chosen people, what is so special with us? How it started? When the Jewish nation started truly, that we can call ourselves a nation?
Abraham.
Not a nation yet. Abraham wasn't called a Jew.
No, I'll say
when we got the Torah.
When we got the Torah, exactly, Mount Sinai. Then we were transformed into a nation, which means from Adam till Matan Torah, there wasn't a Jewish nation. Before Matan Torah, we had the 12 tribes of Israel, but we didn't have the son of Jacob, Israel. But we were not a nation yet. To be turned into a nation, we need a certain amount of people, and then we need a constitution that will unify us. The constitution that unified us was Matan Torah, that was the Torah, the 10 Commandments.
So how is it possible? Is it okay to ask a question?
Definitely.
So before Matan Torah, you had the slavery of the Jews in Egypt. They weren't Jewish people, they weren't...
They were the Israelites, not the Jewish people. They were Israelites. They were the 12 tribes, but not the Jewish people.
So they were defined as the 12 tribes?
The 12 tribes. Jacob is going down to Egypt with 12 children, but there were 70 people altogether, 70, and that get into Egypt. All of them are descendants of Jacob. Jacob is coming with his grandchildren, children and grandchildren into Egypt. And then they had the blessing of having many children, and it turned to be approximately at least 15 million descendants of Jacob in Egypt through the years till the end of the exile. 80% of them died in the plague of darkness, and 20% went out. This was approximately 600,000 families.
Why did they die in the plague of darkness?
They didn't believe in going out of Egypt. Didn't want to
Because
go out, they didn't
have
believe.
emunah,
Some of them didn't have emunah, some of them didn't want to go out of Egypt. So we are not a nation yet, we are 12 tribes. And the 12 tribes, it's even when crossing the sea, each tribe is crossing in his own passage. The sea is parted into 12 passages, like 12 highways, each tribe in their own passage. And then coming to Mount Sinai, and something is taking place over there. And God is asking the people if they want to receive the Ten Commandments through Moses. And then there is the whole story about that God is going to all the nations to ask them if they want the Torah. You know the story. God was walking around going to the nations. No, each nation has an angel which is the governor, the spiritual governor of the nation. So God was going to the governors, the spiritual governors up there, and to ask them if they want to receive the Torah for their nation. So he was going to Esau, to the governor of the tribes of Esau, the families of Esau, and he was asking if they want the Torah. They were asking, what's written over there?
These angels.
It was angels. It wasn't to the people themselves. Because each nation have a spiritual governor that channels the energy to the nation. If a nation is getting here stronger, we see a nation that's getting stronger economically or geographically or whatsoever, means that the governor there received energy, and therefore it's manifest over here. And if the governor there is falling down, his energy is falling down, the nation down will fall down, will have less energy.
What about like dictatorships, for example? They could be perceived as strong.
Yes.
And does that mean that they're receiving
energy from the governor above. The dictators that are being chosen over here, it's not by coincidence. They have energy from above.
So each government.
Each government have a governor above.
Right.
And it's structured according to the number 70. This is the major nations. Because we have like in the UN today more than 200 nations, but truly it's the base is 70 nations.
Every geographical government that we know today in a legal sense has a
governor.
What does that mean though? A governor is
An angel. Like an angel that channels the energy to the nation.
How does the spirits know what the geographical, legal, human components are?
How they know?
The governments, the legal governments as we know it, is a human component, and it's a spiritual component. How's it mapped together?
It's opening without that we would know how it's working. It's coming automatically. The people don't know that. It's happening automatically. And the governor of Israel is HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So what comes?
The angel is Michael, but it's truly HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But let's wait for a minute. So therefore, God is going to every governor and asking them about the Torah, and they refuse. Eventually he's coming to the Jews, and the joke is saying he's asking them to the governor, which is like the angel Michael, do you want to receive the Torah for Israel? And he said, what's the answer was? How much? This is the joke that goes around. How much?
What does it entail? What I give for it?
Yes, what I give for it. The answer was, you don't have to pay for it. I don't have to pay for it, so some say, give me 2, like the 2 tablets, give me 10, whatever. It's for free. But truly, the Almighty was telling Moses the entire agreement, what it's going to be. And it's summed into one sentence in the Torah. ואתם תהיו לי ממלכת כהנים וגוי קדוש. And you should be a priesthood nation, that all the nation will be considered as priests, and you are going to be a holy nation. This was the agreement, and it's like in a hidden way, everything is included in that, what it meant for the nation, what we are going to receive, and what we need to pay as well, what we need to do for that. It's all in one sentence. But really, what's happening there? Eventually, when we are offered the Torah, we said naaseh, we shall do. or we shall make. And like eventually we said Naaseh v'nishma. At the beginning we said Naaseh, and then we said Naaseh v'nishma. So there is a whole story over there that at the beginning we didn't want to receive the Torah. And the Midrash is saying that God forced us to receive the Torah. That he bended the mountain. After that we said Naaseh, that we are willing to receive, and then we were like that. He bended the mountain above the head of the entire people and said, if you are receiving the Torah, fine, and if not, here you are going to die. So it seems to be like there was not a free choice. At the beginning they were asked if they want, and then it's like they were forced to receive the Torah. So what's the story? What's going on over there? And what truly took place over there, that after that we are turning to be the chosen nation, and then it seems to be that we have ego and we don't want to receive any other nations to convert into Judaism, that we reject everyone from converting, like we are hypocrite and we want to keep it for ourselves and it's not nice, whatever. It's strange if we don't understand the inner meaning of it. So we need to understand that in the time of creation of the universe, before the physical creation of the universe, all our souls of 70 nations, including Israel, were one. And all the dimensions of inanimate, vegetation, animal kingdom, all the desires that were included in the universe, that are included in the universe, we were all one. All our souls were one, together with all that there is, energy-wise. This is what we called at the beginning like the middle point, the infinite desire to receive that was created by God. Because what is a soul essence? Give me. The soul essence is give me. One of the way to check a baby, I don't know if we said it over here, is hands, correct? When a baby is born, is holding strongly the finger that is giving to it. So give to me. After 120 years, the customary in Judaism is that the person is leaving to his last rest, they open his palms. Like, I don't have any more desire that belongs to this world anymore. I didn't take anything from here, physically. I didn't take anything. So it means that all the souls were together. But now, in the time of what we call the Tzimtzum in Hebrew, or let's say, the Big Bang, the time that there was seems to be like an explosion, and the light of God is disconnecting from the souls and all the creation, giving room for the physical creation. What took place over there, it's like taking a plate, leaving it and letting it break into pieces, shatter into pieces. Now when it's breaking into pieces, all the pieces are going to be the same? No. We are going to have many small pieces, some medium ones, and fewer big ones. The same, when the infinite desire that was one, that was including all the souls, was disconnected from the light, it's like all the souls are now getting apart. It's like shatter. It's called shvirat hakelim, like the vessels are shattering. So there is a breaking. The breaking means there is separation. And when there was separation, some pieces or many pieces are small, some are medium, and few that are very big pieces. Which means there is a lot of small desires to receive, and very few big desires to receive. Which means in the nations of this world, people don't have the same desire to receive. Potentially it's from the time of creation, but then it's rolling into reality, and slowly we see how it's taking place. For example, if I will ask you, an average Mexican have a big desire to receive or a small desire to receive? Small desire. An average. In Mexico there are like 80 million Mexicans. Mexico City alone, they have approximately 25 million people. Registered around 21, 22. There are 3 that are not registered, approximately. And most of the city live on beans and corn bread. They have a small desire just to exist, mostly. And in the villages, even more so, just to exist. An average Indian from India, big desire to receive or small desire to receive?
Even smaller.
Even smaller, approximately billion people in India, isn't it? So we can see such places in the world that we have many millions of people with a small desire to receive. To receive anything, physical, spiritual, emotional, whatever, to receive something to myself. If you're looking into Europe and North Europe, the average desire to receive would be bigger than in Mexico and India.
Much bigger.
Much bigger. If you're looking to the United States,
Even bigger.
even bigger. And if you're looking at Israelis and Jews,
Even bigger.
even bigger. We want to swallow the whole world.
We want lots.
We are a small nation, but we are into everything. In Mexico City, I've been there like for a couple of years, this is why I know, there are 50,000 Jews in Mexico City. I stopped once a Mexican in the street and asked him how many Jews are in Mexico. In Mexico City, he said 5 millions. 50,000, he said 5 millions. You know, it's a small gap between the reality to what he thought. So they make noise and are affecting the economy to that extent, which means wherever they enter, they create a huge effect. And we can see it as in reality. We are looking at Hollywood, you are looking at Broadway, you are looking at the jewelry business all over the world, which means that wherever the Jews entered, they are very dominant in that area. Areas that they didn't enter, obviously they are not dominant. And obviously, as we said, in all the nations there are people with huge desire to receive, but in average to the population, it's small numbers. In average to the population of the nation. With the Jews, it's not like that. We want to swallow the world. High-tech, not high-tech, for the good, or God forbid the other way. Always huge desire.
And
So,
the
Chinese, most of the people don't have big desire. But from so many millions, you will have few millions that have big desire. And on top of that, we have another thing that is not clear. 10 tribes got lost somewhere in Asia. In the time of the first exile, after the destruction of the first temple, 12 tribes were exiled to the area of Babylon. In that area of Iraq, Persia, and 2 tribes came back to build the second temple. 10 tribes did not want to come back. So some of them are scattered all over around the middle, in the Far East.
That's like
In China, for example, they found pagodot, I don't know how to say their temples, they're saying they're jurisdictions. On the pagodot, on their temples, they have Shema Israel in Chinese. My friends that used to spread Kabbalah in Japan were stopped by the CIA of Japan, the
Federal agents.
the federal agents of Japan. They came to stop them, and they were afraid at the beginning. They were asking them to escort them. They took them. These 2 guys went with them to the tomb site of one of their kings or Kesarim. One of their Kesar is like Caesar of Japan from 2600 years ago. And they took them to their tomb site. They asked them, what's written over here? It was the name of God on the tomb site in Hebrew letters. They were shocked. The name of God with Hebrew letters on his tomb site. All the chain of the Caesars of Japan need to study Gemara. They're studying Jewish studies. Now, this is freaky. Now, once I gave a seminar in Germany to an Israeli that teach ninja studies in Germany. And the story is that for approximately 1800 years, the Japanese didn't open their gates to teach ninja stuff to no one but Japanese. The first one that they entered to their temples and to their ministries to study was an Israeli that's still alive, and his name is Doron. And he was a master that had students that are continuing to teach his studies. So a student of his student was one of my students, was studying with me in Tveria when I was teaching there. So with that connection, I got into Germany to give a seminar, Kabbalah seminar over there. So the guy told me, I was investigating into the official writings of the ninjas that are written in Japanese. I took that from their archive or whatsoever. I asked someone to translate to me, like the major core writings that they have. It speaks there about the concept of 72. Like we have the 72 names of God, speak about the number 72. He saw their connections to what he knew from Kabbalah in Judaism. So what's the story is there? The story tells over there in the Japanese writing, the two Jewish families got into Japan and started all that method of ninjas.
Like Kung Fu,
Like the Kung Fu,
Okay. Karate,
it's much more dangerous than Kung Fu, much more efficient how to finish people. The ninjas.
Using energy.
They are using energy, and this guy Doron one time was coming to Israel. He's all the time there in the ministers. He came to here to train the teachers. So he was asking who is volunteering to come to hit me. So my student was volunteering to come to hit him, and he was coming to hit him, and he's not doing it. So the friends are telling him, "What you are afraid? We want to see the exercise. What's going on?" He says, "You don't understand. I want to hit him, but I can't move." He's standing in front of him. He is working with energy to disarm the energy of the opponent. The guy that is 5 degree in black belt in ninja couldn't move his hand to hit the master because of the meditation that he did on him.
It's like Qigong.
Like the Qigong or whatever, he did the meditation that he knows, he couldn't do anything. Now, how it started? 2 Jewish families. This is what's written in the Japanese writings. Now, this is how the Jews are all over. So you ask about the Chinese. It could be that some of them, as you said, from a Jewish descendants, I don't know. But what is the idea behind what I'm saying? The idea is that those souls that have big desire to receive were accumulated and coming together into the descendants of Jacob, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, and the 12 tribes. And all the souls that were born into those tribes were those pieces of desire to receive. When the vessel shattered, the big desires to receive. Desires that had no end to their desires. Want more and more and more. Nothing is enough. It's beautiful what you said. Because if we draw the light, if we receive the light of God in a greedy way, in a selfish way, this is greed. If I'm doing it in a selfish way, and I can receive the light of God in order to reveal, to do good, this is not greed. It's not greedy to be rich. As we said it before in one of the lectures, Abraham was very rich. He was using it in a positive manner to help society. Isaac was rich, Jacob was rich, King Solomon was rich. There is nothing wrong with being rich, it's how you use it. So it's nothing wrong with being what's called greed. It's not greed. To have a big desire to receive, the question is what you do with it. If you have a big desire to receive in a selfish way, that you are letting yourself hurt people because of your power in order to take advantage of them and to be more rich, this is greed, this is selfish, this is egocentric, this is bad, and eventually the person will pay for it because it's against the rules of the universe.
Because the universe is abundance. Everything, you've got abundance of unconditional love, you've got abundance of well-being. The way I look at it is like abundance, let's say, of fresh air. So if you breathe in that prana, that beautiful air, if you hold it in, and you don't let it out, you're gonna die. Like, you have to circulate.
Beautiful. Yes, it's the same.
Never ending, you have a flow of
Yes.
energy, you have to have flow.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. This is why in Judaism they're speaking about the flow. When it's speaking about money, it's speaking about tithing. It's a flow. It's a flow. For example, it's a flow with everything. So if a person is keeping it to himself, yes, then it's dying. Then there is stagnation. This is what's happening in economy. Economy is a flow. If people are afraid and do not go out and buy, do not spend, then it's killing the entire economy. It goes down. It's a flow. As you are saying, it's a flow.
And
So
same with water, if it doesn't flow, it becomes green and stagnates.
exactly. Exactly. So what's happened in Mount Sinai?
That's why spelling is good.
Our souls, these souls with a big potential of desire to receive, we were in a potential state of desire to receive. The desire to receive did not manifest into its full extent, which means it's like you have a machine that, or you have a program that was not activated yet. You have the program, it's there, but it was activated, let's say, to 20% capacity. And now you need to activate it to the 100% capacity. So Mount Sinai, all the 600,000 families and all the mixed multitude that were with them were coming into a point in which there is activation of the system from 10% or 20% capacity to 100% capacity. Now 100% capacity, it's already dangerous because it's a lot of energy. So therefore, if you don't have a proper capability to handle it, you will be burned out. So this is why there are conditions in order to do that action. The biggest condition was that we all the 600,000 men that were standing there, accepted upon themselves the rule of flowing. Love thy neighbor as thyself. There we accepted to behave with love thy neighbor as thyself, that before that I'm taking care of myself, I'm taking care to all the rest of the people in the nation. To that degree, I'm not taking care of myself, I'm taking care of everyone else. But 600,000 families accepted that. This was one condition into a proper vessel to receive that high energy that was revealed there. And the second one was the rules, to behave according to the rules of the 10 Commandments, and the 10 Commandments includes all the 613 rules that there are in Judaism. So when we knew that we are going to receive so much energy, just imagine what it means. Just for the story, the United States government is coming to an Israeli in Israel and telling him, you know, in Fort Knox we have a little bit too much gold. We want to get rid of some of the gold that we have there. Do you have some room to receive some gold from us? Now that Israeli is living in a small apartment, and they come to ask him, do you have room? Well, like they are looking at the small apartment. He says, don't worry about the room. I'll take care of it. What do I need to do? To throw the sofa, to throw the fridge, to throw my mother-in-law? No problem. I will make place. I will make. That concept of I will make place, or we shall make, this is when God is coming to the angels before creating Adam and is asking them, Naaseh Adam B'Tzalmenu, we shall make a man in our image. Naaseh means to create a vessel. It's to create something that was not there before. God is saying to the angels, Naaseh Adam B'Tzalmenu, we shall make a human being in our image. In Mount Sinai, what we said, Naaseh V'Nishma. God is asking us through Moses, you want to receive a lot of light, a lot of blessing? What we said, we should make place, don't worry. We are going to accept it, we will make the place for that. But now when you are receiving a lot of energy, you need to be careful how to handle the energy. This is why we needed to add to it V'Nishma. We should make the place, but also we should listen to the rules. We didn't want to add that one. This is why God was forcing the mountain upon us. This is what's called not just the written Torah. The written Torah we accepted, but the oral Torah that explains all the rules, we didn't want to accept at the beginning. This is why it says that God forced us. But it's not forcing us. It's like if you are accepting all that energy and you are not accepting the rules how to behave, it's going to burn you out. You are going to die anyway. So God was first forcing us to receive the rules in order that we won't finish ourselves by going against the rules. But nevertheless, because of that energy, through the history, when we go against the rules, the result is explosion. The result is chaos. Did you follow me just now? I said it very quickly.
No, I just
Yeah.
Explosion.
Every time it's explosion, because if we don't go according to the rules that we committed, that we accepted on Mount Sinai, there is cause and effect. You are playing with high voltage. You're not going according to the rules. Short circuit. And short circuit with high voltage, it's not like short circuit with 25 watt. 20,000 watt short circuit and 25 watt, it's not the same. So we high voltage energy. This is the Jewish nation, for the good or for the other side. When the transformation took place, when we would say the activation of that big desire inside our soul took place, Mount Sinai. This is when it took place. This is when we were transformed from 12 tribes into a nation. And since then, this is a different game. Okay, now you wanted to say something.
I just wanted to ask something that I don't know, because you were talking about the lost tribes. I read somewhere, and I don't remember, that the Taliban, is it possible that they're one of the tribes, or that's just your...
I don't know if the Taliban is one of the tribes, but there are tribes in that area, and if the Taliban is stubborn, I assume that the Jews are stubborn also. No, I don't know if this is Taliban. I don't think so, because I don't think so that they are. It could be that there is a mixture of blood in their nation, the Jews. It's possible that there was a mixture of blood over there. Some people are saying, some Persians are saying that Hamas is coming from an area that was like a mixed energies between Jews to Persians, and from that area Hamas is coming. So it could be that Hamas are descendants of a relationship between Jews and Muslim women. So some Persians are saying that. So it's possible that things like this took place, but I don't know to tell you. So the idea is that since then we are a nation with big desire to receive. And we were chosen to channel energy to all the nations, not just to our nation. Because it says, in this world there is what's called the internal energy and the external energy. Like a soul and a body. The soul is supposed to be connected to the godly consciousness. The body is coming from earth, from dust. It's the earthy desires. This is the negative desires, the selfish desires. Now they are combined together in order that the soul will elevate the body, and also that the soul will go through the test not to fall down into the desires of the body. So it's internal and external. If the soul is ruling, that person will be a person that controls his negative behaviors. Even if he wants to steal, he won't steal because the soul controls the body, and the soul is connected more to the godly energy. This is internal. But if the body is ruling, so the soul will surrender to the power of the body, and that body will be will have the energy to do bad things, to insult people in public, to get angry. When the internal is not ruling, then we can get angry to insult people, and then it can get worse, to steal or to rob or to murder. This is when the body consciousness is controlling over the soul consciousness. So we have that challenge individually, that we need that the soul will overcome the body consciousness. And what helps the soul to do so is the guidance of the rules of the Torah. That if a person is saying, I'm following the rules of the Torah, even though that I want to kill him because he insulted me, the Torah says, don't kill, I won't kill him. So it's guidance, it's like a fence, a border that's keeping me in the proper direction, the proper place. Now, if I'm not following the rules of the Torah, the body consciousness can control more. When we spoke about kosher food, not kosher food means that the energy in the not kosher food is very much not balanced. That the external materialistic energy is very strong in the not kosher food versus the internal energy that there is in that food. So if a person is eating it, that food will influence him more, that the body consciousness that he has will get stronger versus the soul consciousness. Just for an example, to lavdi, not like with human beings, but if we want a dog to be very vicious, what the trainers would give him to eat, what is food in order to be vicious? They will give him flesh with blood. They will give him meat. of another animal with blood. This will make that dog more vicious because he is eating part of the soul of the other animal, not just the physical meat, because the blood is the soul. The soul of the animal is in the blood, which means if someone is eating not kosher food, that blood inside that meat, for example, will affect him, that the soul of the impure animal, part of it will connect with his body. He's eating it now, and that soul will influence him because it's an animal nature. So the person it will be harder for him to overcome that negative nature. So it won't happen after one day, but it's accumulating. So therefore it's like blocking the person from seeing the truth, or seeing the light, seeing the proper way, overcoming the negative attributes and so on. So the rules of the Torah are in order that we will be able to overcome the nature of the body.
So what about with the blood transfusion? Can you accept a blood transfusion for a non-Jewish person?
It's better not. But if it's necessity to save life, then the answer is yes. Depends on the situation. But if it's possible to choose, it's better not, because it's not the same. I won't expand on it, but there are stories about other things like that when it's coming from non-Jews. But the idea is not because that we are better than them. It's we have a function, we have a job. In order to do that job, we need to keep ourselves cleaner. The same as we said once, a light bulb of 100 watts, it's not a problem to hold it and to place it into its place. But if I have a halogen light bulb of 800 watts, when I'm placing it in its place, I'm not allowed to touch the glass of that light bulb, because if I'm touching it, the shuman, like the oil on my fingers, will make a stamp on that glass, and this will burn the light bulb very quickly. It needs to be clean, totally clean. When we're speaking about higher energy, it needs to be cleaner. When we speak about higher transformation of energy, it needs to be cleaner. This is why fiber optics are very powerful in transferring information. It's clean, it's glass. Therefore, as human beings, we are channels of energy, and we suppose as a chosen nation to channel energy to all the nations. So therefore we need to keep our purity between men and women, relationships, purity in food, purity in behavior, in all those aspects. There are many rules how to keep ourselves in a balanced way. The purpose is that the soul will be overcoming the body consciousness. So this is the work that we all have to do individually. As a nation, there is the internal force of a nation and the external force of a nation as a nation. And then there is the entire universe, all 70 nations of this globe. Now, Rabbi Ashlag, the Kabbalist that wrote a commentary to the Zohar in the previous century, mentioned in one of his introductions that the internal, external is working and affecting the entire world. All the nations relatively to Israel considered to be external, like the body consciousness, and we are the soul consciousness. Now, in Israel, all the nation is the body consciousness, and those that study the Torah, it's more the soul consciousness. In the people that study the Torah, those that study the external meaning of the Torah, the laws, the Gemara, and so on, are the external part, and the internal part are those that are studying more the secrets of the Torah, or the inner meaning, like the Kabbalah stuff, the Hasidism, and so on. And also in that level there is more inner and more inner. Now, if those that are dealing with the inner meaning of the Torah are cleaner and channeling more light, that it's overcoming over those that study Torah without studying the inner meaning of the Torah, then the good people in Israel will overcome the negative people in Israel. And the good people in the world will overcome the negative people of the world. And it all starts where? In the internal part of studying of the Torah of the people of Israel. But if the internal part of the Torah in Israel is weaker than the external part of the Torah, as happening today, that most of the people start studying the external part of the Torah and stuck with arguments and separation and ego with the external part of the Torah, then it's overcoming also the people that study the internal part of the Torah. It's making them weaker, because the body consciousness is overcoming the soul consciousness. So the people that study Kabbalah today, many of them have separation and ego and so on. Even with the study of spirituality, people are with energy of separation today. It's not with unity. This is what's taking place. Very few will study the spirituality and would make all effort in the world never to go into arguments and disputes, or the other person is not good and that is no, they want to connect with the light and just to share the light. They are not into the separation consciousness. But this is not strong enough today in Israel, and therefore the external is overcoming the internal with those that study the Torah. So the bad people in Israel, those that are more into the ego, more into the materialistic consciousness, are overcoming the good people in Israel that are more, let's say, more modest, more balanced, more sharing. So the external is overcoming the internal, and the bad people in the world overcoming the good people in the world. Not by coincidence that the Kabbalists said since Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that if we want Mashiach, especially in our time, it depends on the study of the Zohar. It says, "Behai chibura ifkun min galuta berachamin." With this writing that we are writing now, the Zohar, the Book of Splendor, the people of Israel will go out from the bondage, from exile, into freedom in a merciful way, without the energy of judgment, which means that the positive will overcome the negative in a merciful way. We don't see today. What we see in the world today, there is more pressure and more pressure in order to awaken us to know that we need to connect with the internal. Now, if the people that are studying the Torah think that their budget for the yeshiva depends on the government, so therefore they want to choose who in the government will do it for me, will give me the budget that I need, and in the process they forget God, then they are into the external, not into the internal. So the pressure would come to that degree that we will say, I want the Almighty, I want God, I don't want another king, I don't need this prime minister or that prime minister, that party or that party. This is all nonsense. If the light of God is here, whoever is there, it will be good. The light of God will guide him. And if not, chaos will take place. The most wise person that will go to be prime minister, the other side will play with him games. The power of evil will play on him tricks in a way that he was very good before being prime minister. Now he will be the most horrible person without knowing that he's like that. He will make the wrong decisions on right and on left, even though that before he was with proper way of consciousness and proper way of seeing it. Stepping into the shoes of a prime minister of Israel, the angel of death is saying, now you are in my hands. And if he doesn't have the strength of the internal power of the Torah in Israel that is strong enough, then he won't ever be able to overcome that. So therefore, this is why we need, this is what the pressure in the world is putting on us, that eventually all the people of Israel, or at least a certain group of people will say, like in Egypt, we need God. We like in Mount Sinai, God is the God, no other force. He is the king. And this is what Rosh Hashanah is about. Rosh Hashanah, we accept that God is the king. We are crowning God again. It's like accepting the Torah again on Rosh Hashanah. I'm crowning God for the next year. From Rosh Hashanah, He is my God. Not that He needs it, I need it. I need to crown Him, because if I'm crowning Him as my God, He's saying, you are my how to say? You are my people.
Yeah.
If you are my people, I'll take care of you, and God can take care of us. So if I'm truly choosing Him, now it needs to be a choice that, without any doubt, thinking that also He is my God, but also the friend in the government is my God, the politician and that. No. It's clearly just one God, without any other God. The money is not my God. This is, in the dollar we trust. No, this is not my God. Yes, I need the dollar, but it's not my God. God is my God, and He will send me the dollar from right or from left or from behind me, wherever the money will come, because He's sending it. He will find room to send it to me, and it's not simple to be in that place. We are so far from it, most of us, from that place of truly trusting the light of God and connecting with the light of God, and this is what Rosh Hashanah is about. Now, we did it in Mount Sinai. It was very powerful, but the same as the positive energy was powerful, and that time, because of the people that went out of Egypt with us, the mixed multitude, the negative was very powerful, and we lost it after 40 days with the golden calf. And since then, till today, we are paying for the golden calf. Every time that there is trouble in the life of the Jewish nation, it's associated with that. Every time that we have trouble in life, it's associated with this, that we participated with the golden calf. So since then we were a nation, or just complete for a second. Since then we were a nation, and since then we have a job which is not just the people of Israel, we have a job and responsibility for all the nations of this world. Because our internal force through the Torah need to overcome the external force, and then it will bring more balance to all the nations. All the rest of the people of the world will be able to transform themselves to go to a higher level. If we go to a higher level, we need first to go to there. This is why the verse that God told us, the agreement with us, you are going to be a priesthood nation, which means you need to be like the priest, as the priest are spiritual teachers to all the Jewish nation. The entire Jewish nation need to be as priest to all the nations of the world, to teach them spirituality, to teach them the way of God, to connect, how to connect with one God. This is what we're supposed to be. And in order to do so, we need to be a holy nation. We need to clean ourselves in order to be able to do so. I cannot be a priest if I'm not cleaning myself, if I'm not elevating myself. This is why we all need to elevate ourselves. And this is... life will push us to that direction, we want or we don't want. The reality eventually will get there. In the meantime, in a painful way. This is what's taking place.
You had two questions. One, I'm hearing you correctly. I understand what I understand is if we remove ego, judgment, and fear, then the light will shine.
Yes.
Is that correct? Is
Yes.
it as simple as that? It's not simple, but is it?
Yes, if we remove ego away.
Ego, fear, and and judgment.
Yes.
And the other question is, I heard somewhere or read somewhere, are our hormones or hormones in the body connection between our body and our soul? Is that the...
If the hormones are the connection between the body to the soul, it says that the blood is the soul, and the physical link between the soul to the body is through the blood. In the blood itself, we have white cells, it's more associated with the soul level. We have the red cells more associated with the body, and we have the plasma, which is the central that connects the right and the left. And the plasma is mostly very salty, isn't it? It's based on a lot of salt, the plasma. This is why we need salt in our body. Not too much, but we need the salt. Salt in Hebrew is 78, numerically. And 78 is the name of God times 3. Name of God, Yud Ke Vav Ke Yud and Hey Vav and Hey is 26. Times 3, 78. Is again right, left, and central in our blood system. We have there the right, left, and central. Right, left, and central. So therefore, the white cells is more associated with our immune system. This is associated with the spiritual part of the body, with the part that is connecting to the soul, more the spiritual part. This is why the spiritual state that we are in is affecting our health. If a person is more happy, his immune system is better, because it's associated more to the soul level. So therefore it's in the blood, the connection between the soul and the body. Now the link itself, there is a more subtle link between the soul to the blood, because after that we go down to the lowest level of the soul, there is another part that is even a lower part that connects to the body, and it's the image of God. It's like, let's create a person in our image. In Hebrew it's named Tselem. Tselem, it's like the cell, a shadow. It's like almost not real. It's like a cell, but with the letter mem, Tselem. And this is like the part that links the lower level of the soul into the body, the Tselem. And if we have that part, we can live here. And if that part disappear, we can't.
What is that part?
That part is it's a spiritual part that's connecting between the soul to the body. It's a spiritual part. We receive it in the time that we are conceived. The moment that a child is being conceived, that image that have a spiritual, it's like the same look of a person, the same that we look physically. There is that spiritual being, let's say, how we would say it. It's like the spirit, but the lower level of the spirit. But the spirit of a human being have the same image of the person.
It's like a blueprint.
We can say like a
It's
blueprint.
the aura.
It's not the aura, it's like a blueprint. It's like a blueprint that is in between, and as long that we have it, we are alive, and when it disappears, we would die. And
It's not physiological.
we receive it. It's not. It's it's spiritual. Spiritual part. It's not physiological. And when, as we said, in time of conceiving, it's already there.
It's 40 days before we're born. God decides what you're going to get, what you're not going to get.
40 days before we are born, it says.
Your destiny, the whole.
Yes. Because the soul, like there is a plan when the soul is going
That's
to come
the
in.
blueprint of what Hashem has in mind for you.
But then, literally, when the blueprint will come to that couple and not to that couple, in the time of conceiving, it's being decided. The blueprint will be coming to here, and that blueprint is above the couple that are conceiving the child. It's there. It says if we would have spiritual eyes, we would see which child will come to us in the moment of conceiving the child. It's there already, and in the image that is going to be in this world, we would see that. So all of that is existing there. Now we came to it by speaking about internal versus external. So therefore our work is that the internal will be stronger than the external. Not that the external is not important, because we cannot live without a body, but the body needs to serve the soul, not that the soul will serve the body. This is what's supposed to take place. The same also as the nation, the more spiritual part is supposed to guide us than the physical. This is why there are many moral rules in the Torah, when it's speaking about slaves, when it's speaking about a widow, when it's speaking about orphans, when it's speaking about the poor people, many rules. When it's speaking about the seventh year, the Shemitah, like we are in front of the, it's starting this coming Rosh Hashanah. So it's giving us certain rules, and one of the rules is that if someone borrowed money and did not succeed to give it back, the person that loaned the money should let go and give up on that money in the year of Shemitah. No, it's in Shemitah every 7 years.
Every 7 years.
Yes, the Shmitat Chovot. This is, but it's not obviously it's not to the banks and so on. What's happening today?
After 50 years, and 49 years ago, we got let the slaves go.
Yes, the slaves were supposed to be free after in the seventh year.
Seven.
But if they didn't want to go out into freedom, then in the Jubilee they go out. So what happened in Mount Sinai? We turned into a nation that the destiny of the entire world depends on us. We are not the best nation. In the Torah it says over there, you were chosen because you were the least bad nation. This is what it says over there. The least.
You're the best and the worst.
Something like that.
We were the best of what was available.
This is what took place over there. And then God is telling us the reason that you are better than others is because of the merit of the spiritual work that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did, and you are their descendants, and it would be in the DNA, in your DNA, the attributes that they achieved. Because you have the attributes, the positive attributes of Abraham, the positive attributes of Isaac and of Jacob. Esau didn't get the positive attributes from Isaac. He got to the external ones. So from Jacob, all the 12 tribes got the positive DNA, spiritual DNA from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob himself. So therefore, this is one credit that we have. The second credit that we have, that we were slaves in Egypt for 210 years. And it's like rubbing the negativity from us. Negativity that accumulated from the time of Adam, with the sin of Adam, till Egypt. We are a reincarnation, the soul of the Jewish people that were in Egypt, were the souls that were in the time of the Tower of Babylon
So-
and wanted to tell God, go
There
take
are
a
tshuva.
vacation.
There are tshuva.
This is the correction. This is the tshuva was there in Egypt. We wanted in Tower of Babylon to take God, take a vacation, we'll rule over the world. You can go into, how it says, pension, something like that. We wanted to tell God. And then in the time of the flood, we were that generation before Noah, and in the time of the flood, we did the misdeeds that brought the flood, and the correction was with water. We drowned into water. What happened in Egypt? They throw the babies into the water, associated. And building a Tower of Babylon, okay, build now the cities of Pharaoh. Correction to those generations, the souls that came again as a generation to make a correction. So the souls of the people of Israel got purified over there. And when we came out, because of the merit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and the strong rubbing of negativity from us by the slavery, we could receive the Torah on Mount Sinai. We understood that if we want to exist, we need to be acting with love thy neighbor as thyself. But along the way, it fell down again, and we are still working on it, till eventually we will get to it, and we see through the entire history of the Jewish nation. When we are united, a lot of light is being revealed. The power of the Jewish nation is getting to be very strong, beyond nature, not according to the regular rules of nature. When we are with separation, chaos is taking place. When we are selfish, chaos is taking place. When we are merciful one to another, a lot of blessing is coming to this nation and from us to all the world. So this is the game till we will get the message. We didn't get it the first round. They give us the second round. We don't get it the second round. They give us the third round. So meantime, we are, if we will say according to soccer game, what is the time that we are in the game? We finished 90 minutes of the game. We are approximately 95, 96 minutes to the game, which means we are after all the process that need to take place. The game is supposed to be over already. Mashiach is supposed to be here, according to all the calculation, what the sages saw. We are behind it, and still it doesn't come because we didn't get the lesson yet, and the Almighty doesn't want that we will get it in a judgmental way. So instead that it will be too judgmental, it's coming gradually. And just imagine that what we go through in the past 100 years, this is gradually. Instead that it will come in a difficult way. And we are not there yet, but it could be very quickly now. Because change of consciousness can be very quickly. Wherever there is possibility to reveal a lot of light, personally or globally, what do you think the other side will do, the impure system will do? It will give it easy way to start. If there is something that can remove darkness, which is light, you think that the force of darkness will allow that light to rise very quickly, or it will do everything that it's possible in his hands to prevent it? So therefore it's from the evil side suggestions not to study Kabbalah, because the Kabbalist, a Kabbalist named Rabbi Avraham Azulai, that lived around 500 years ago. He was a friend and co-student together with the student of Rabbi Isaac Luria, Rabbi Chaim Vital. Rabbi Avraham Azulai studied from him and studied with his son a lot. He was a huge Kabbalist that wrote a commentary to the entire Zohar, to the Book of Splendor. And he did it approximately 500 years ago. He passed away around 450 years ago. He said that the decree not to study Kabbalah in public ended 500 years ago. And the decree was even made more easy, that from 450 years ago, children can study Kabbalah. He said everyone can study Kabbalah, which means or read in the Zohar. So the decree not to study was lifted from long ago.
By who?
By the Kabbalists said that from heavens there is the permission. The Kabbalists knew that it's time that changes. We came into the last generation in time of redemption, in the past 500 years, and it's the time to study. So all the Kabbalists are stating, many Kabbalists are stating it's time to study Kabbalah. But the other side is preventing it through different excuses. He finds his way to say why people are not ready to start the Kabbalah, why not you need to be in a certain age, a certain study, and so on. This is the other side work. And yes, but still, in the past 40 years, 50 years, there is a big change in the attitude to Kabbalah, including with rabbis and the yeshiva world, because many more people are studying Kabbalah and study openly, including in the religious world, including rabbis in the religious world, and there are some yeshivot that are teaching more inner meaning of the Torah than they used to do in the past. It's not what's supposed to be, but there is more, and it's more accepted, and there are many more books in the different Jewish bookstores about Kabbalah in many languages, not just in Hebrew. So we are few steps ahead, further than we've been 40 years ago. The truth is that the rabbis have explained that all the secrets are in the Torah, all the secrets are in the Gemara. If someone studies the Gemara properly, he needs to come to the point that he will see the secrets of the universe from the Gemara. He will understand the secrets of Kabbalah from the Gemara. But they are saying if someone is studying Gemara properly for 3 years, another opinion for 5 years, and they don't see the inner meaning, they don't see the life force within the Torah from the Gemara, then they won't see it ever from the Gemara, and they need to go to the Kabbalah books. Which means when someone studies the Gemara, he's supposed to understand the inner meaning and the spirituality from
That's
the
the
Gemara.
purpose of studying the Gemara.
The purpose is to understand the secrets of the universe and to understand the work that we are doing here, to how to connect with God and the light of God.
That's not
The purpose of the study is not the rules of the Torah, because the purpose of all of that, including all the Torah rules, is to connect with God, to be attached to God, lidvok baboreh. This is just the tool. After that, we will be connected properly to the Torah, to the Boreh, to the Creator. We'll be cleaving into the Creator. We don't need the tools. I'm driving to car to get somewhere. I'm leaving the car outside and I'm getting. That's it. I don't need the car anymore. I got to the place. I don't need the car anymore. The Torah is a vehicle to get to a purpose. It's not the purpose. It's the vehicle. Now, if you are making Torah the purpose, you are misunderstanding the process.
I find the Kabbalah is like the heart part of Judaism. Like if you take the heart away, it becomes something's missing.
Okay, we'll go back to the beginning. You know the word Pardes? Orchard?
We live
Pardes.
We live in Pardes.
You live in Pardes. Pardes it's Pei, Resh, Dalet, Samer. Pardes. Pei is for Pshat, the simple way of learning with the Torah. Resh is Remesh, the hints in the Torah. Drash, hints. There are some, the Remez. Drash is what you can, from the verses, you can see an inner meaning. And Samech is the Sod. So this is Pardes. The Samech is stating the secret level. Now if you take the secret out, which is the heart, if you take it out, you are left with the word Pered, and Pered means separation. And Pered means mule. Pered is also mule in Hebrew. This is the power of the Hebrew language. Pered is mule, which means the Torah without the Samech, we are like mules, which means stubborn. But there is another meaning to it. Mule doesn't have descendants. A mule with a mule cannot bring descendants. A mule is the result of a horse and a donkey, and if there will be a mule and a mule that will bring descendants, maybe 1 in 1,000. There is no continuation. Without the inner meaning of life, there is no continuation. And what we spoke at the beginning, life is a flow of energy that comes and goes through us. If we want the light properly, we need to receive and to give a flow of energy, not just to hold it and not to create a flow. Rabbi Cook, that was a huge Kabbalist and huge rabbi at the beginning, when he was vegetarian.
Vegetarian or vegan?
Vegetarian, I think. Now we need to understand that taking meat out of the table, out from the from food, it's better if a person can handle it. It's more balanced. It's easier to be more spiritual like that, because meat is taking the person down. That's why in Kabbalah they are saying that if someone is eating meat, he should know meditations and intentions while doing it, that it won't take him down. And this is why it's important when eating food in general and meat specifically to say the blessing properly before eating the food and after eating the food. Before that, it's helping to connect with the inner energy in the food and to elevate the light within the food, the holiness in the food. And after the food, to eliminate the negative effect. Like Borei Nefashot, yes. And if someone was eating a proper meal, it's Birkat Hamazon. But and meat was included there, so it's Birkat Hamazon. And then, yes, so the blessing needs to be said properly, and it's helping to remove the negative effect of the material part within the food by the blessing, to overcome them. So the intentions in the blessing is very essential for the spiritual effect on the person. So this is why we are blessing.
Motivate me to do the after blessings more.
Yes, definitely. It's important, the after blessing, very important. Now, it's not that difficult for most of the time, as you said, and then for the cakes and so on, it's not that big, and you can hold the card in your pocket, and that's it. And if you have if you have a phone, you can have it in all the time on the phone, so it's easy. Today it's easier, much easier to say it, and it's important.
And is it like fruit and vegetables, when you say even they still have
material consciousness?
material stuff
Definitely,
inside?
yes.
Could be like a reincarnation thing or something.
We'll go back. Adam and Eve before the sin, how did they eat? In the Garden of Eden, they had all the garden, an orchard, the best in the world they had, with all the fruits, you know. They had the Brazilian food, and they had Australian, they had Mexican food, and I don't know if you've been in Mexico, what fruits they have in Mexico. This is amazing, the fruits that they have there, how it tastes. You know, the ananas
It's very sweet.
over here, pineapple
Ananas.
over there. It's not like that. It's pineapple, and it's all delicious. It's really good. Now, all of that they had in the orchard, and I think even more than that. How did they eat, Adam and Eve? They were just looking at the food. They got the energy. They didn't need to digest. They needed, the digesting system was useless for them. They had it in a potential way, because they did not need to separate the bad from the good in the fruits. In the Garden of Eden, the only tree that had fruit that was mixed good and bad was the tree of knowledge. They were supposed to eat just from the rest of the trees. They were just looking at them. They connected with the energy. They did not eat physically, which means the physical food have good and bad. This is what we have today. This is why there are some people with their meditations that they are nourishing themselves with energy, like looking at the sun, or I don't know, there are different groups connecting with the sun and receiving energy, and so on, and they can live with much less food than we use. So this is a different idea. But why, as Jews, we love food and we have holidays with food and food and food? Because part of the correction of this world is by eating and blessing on the food. So by having the food and blessing on it and eating it, it's helping to elevate sparks of light that fell down in the level of the animal kingdom or the inanimate, and by that we are making the vegetarian kingdom. By that we are making a correction to those sparks of light inside the food. It's not like that. It's a matter of spiritual connection to the light, to give a charge of energy to the soul, to be able to face the body consciousness. This is why we need to go to sleep, because the soul needs to be recharged. When we go to sleep, the soul is leaving the body and connect with energy, going for recharge. The invention with the cars, with electricity, the soul needs to go. So the soul is going out of the body, going for a recharge, and comes back. This is why we need the Kriyat Shema before to sleep. It helps the soul in the process in traveling to a level of being recharged and coming back. God forbid, but if a person, his soul is being very much bothered, and there is a lot of negative energy in his life, then the soul at night won't go to charge properly. The soul will go out of the body, but the person won't recharge properly. Or what's happening to most of us when we go to sleep after midnight. The middle of the night today, it's approximately like 20 to 1, according to, this is the middle of the night. if we go to sleep after that, the soul is not being recharged, it's just the body resting. The real recharge of the soul is before midnight. Which means if the person will go to sleep every night at, let's say, 10, 10:30, 11, every night at 11. After a few nights, the person will feel different. He will feel recharged. If someone, God forbid, is sick, if someone is sick and he goes to sleep every night at 10 p.m., the soul will recharge. It would be easier for the person to get well. That's why sick people need to sleep and to sleep and to sleep, because the soul goes out to recharge. The main part of recharge is as the sun went down, we have stars, till midnight. This is the time when the person would sleep, his soul will be recharged. And if not, then it's rest for the body, but it's not real recharge.
Is there a rule when you are supposed to say Kriyat Shema until, like from and until?
Yes, the person can say it even without going to sleep. Let's say you know that if you wait till the last minute, you won't say it. So you can say it, let's say 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock in the evening, you say the Kriyat Shema, and with the condition that you know that you are not going to sleep immediately, and then when you go to sleep, you go to sleep.
And if you go to bed very late, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Doesn't matter, you said the Kriyat Shema at 10 p.m.
No, but what if you haven't done it at 9?
Then what we'd say, and not every time we are doing it, but the best if someone's going to bed at 1 p.m., it's better before going to sleep to read a little bit something spiritual, like to read the Book of Splendor, or to read something spiritual, to recharge the soul with the study, and then to go to sleep. So this is giving us some idea about some more stuff about Judaism.
Beautiful. I like that part of it, the delving stuff.
I know, this is why I left the regular stuff a little bit, but